House party. Some girl jumped out of the second-story window onto a kid. What is the craziest thing you've seen/done at a party? The group of kids decided to try and make cotton candy by pouring sugar into a spin dryer. It caught fire. I threw a house party in college. I was trying to keep it relatively tame, but one of my roommates sent out a mass text and the whole house ended up being standing room only. Fast forward and some drunk asshole jumps in his car and floors it straight into the car parked in front of him. He then tries to make a quick escape by driving into the concrete drainage ditch next to my house. His car is now stuck nose down in the ditch, rear wheels in the air. The drunk guy then stumbles out and tries to tell everyone that it actually isn't his car and that my car is really his. We let him spend the next 10 minutes trying to unlock it while the police came. I woke up hungover the next day at my friend's house after a huge house party. Everyone was still passed out/asleep. I went in his kitchen to get some water and there were about 7 homeless people with sleeping bags filling the floor. No idea how they got in. We had to call the police because they refused to get up. Girl shit in my sink. Her friend was using the toilet, and I guess she sat up there to pee. But more than pee came out. So I had the pleasure of asking which one of the few girls at my party fired one off in the sink. Surprisingly, she raised her hand. Then I burst into tears and ran out of my apartment. Great, now I have to clean that shit up. I walked into a room one time and there was a guy taking a dump on a glass coffee table, and another guy underneath the table taking pictures through the glass. Dude drank like a liter of vodka, washed it down with some orange juice. At some point in the next hour, he crapped his pants on a white leather couch. We trailed him to a bathroom where he used the floor mats as toilet paper, just crap everywhere. He somehow climbed out of a privacy window and ran into the night. I throw a large house party in the country. About 50 to 60 people show up, all ready to drink. We were 23 to 26. A close friend passes out on the couch after a solid 8 hours of drinking, 11 p.m. Proceeds to wake up, walk to the side of the couch, drops pants, and takes a huge shit in front of 50 people. Everyone was yelling at him, but he just couldn't snap out of it. After huge shit is dropped, a friend of mine who snuck out during the commotion, runs in wearing the hazmat suit he recently picked up for local FD training. Cleaned it all up. Probably the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. The host of the party was really drunk and he looks at me and my girlfriend and he says, "Watch this." He walks into the closet and grabs his ironing board and continues to surf down the stairs flawlessly with the ironing board. It was honestly amazing. Party at my house, my friend Tim is there. All night he keeps asking people if they've seen his sister, his twin sister. He's looking for her and she's here somewhere at this party. I know he doesn't have a sister, but I figure he's just being weird. From about 9 till 2 he's asking everybody, making it a point to specifically ask each and every individual if they've seen his sister, his twin sister. It's just after 2 a.m. when, unbeknownst to any of us, he tucks his wiener between his legs, he turns off the music, drops his pants to his ankles, and shuffles through the whole party screaming, "Twin sister! Twin sister!" Was hosting a house party in a house we were renting. It was in the middle of the country, so fairly remote. Now, this was around the time when Resident Evil 5 came out. It's important to the story. There is a big baddie in that game that had a chainsaw and a bag on his head. Around 3 a.m., my heavily intoxicated friend decided it would be funny to go to the shed and get a chainsaw and chase after people while having a brown paper bag on his head. Now, this would have been funny if you know the guy. 90% of the people at the party didn't. So imagine this, you're in a house about 20 minutes from anywhere, it's 3 a.m. and you have had a few beers and don't know a lot of people really well. Then a guy busts through the door with a chainsaw and a bag on his head. Can you imagine the reactions? Priceless. I went to my friend's neighbor's 18th birthday party. I was a couple of years older. This was the guy's first night seriously on the piss. Legal drinking age is 18 in Australia, and he decided to do shots of ouzo as well as some spirits mixed with coke in between. We partied for a while, then headed back to my mate's house to have a few quiet ones there. After a while, at my mate's house, we went back to the birthday party to see how it was going. The birthday boy was blackout drunk now. He was naked, in bed, but not asleep, just kind of slurring and vomiting fucking everywhere. His parents were asleep upstairs, so we decided to help this dude out since he was completely fucked. I started cleaning his spew with a dustpan but flicked some of the spew into my eye with the brush. That shit burns. Meanwhile, my friends have managed to get Spew Boy into a cool shower to wake him up a bit. The dude ends up getting out of the shower and does the thing those weird monster people in the Schism film clip do. That was the point we noped the fuck out and woke his parents up. I threw a huge party at my first house after I moved out of my parents' house. This girl I kind of knew took a bunch of acids, which, who cares, but she ended up not leaving when everyone else did. I eventually found her in a dark room by herself holding my cat's toy, watching The Ring on my TV, and laughing hysterically. I was super creeped out, so I just left her alone. I saw a woman, pregnant, naked, rolling her face off, eating barbecue chicken, and dripping sauce all over herself at a rave in Detroit. My ex-girlfriend was a DJ and we saw a decent amount of shit during those travels, but that burned a hole. Some dude got drunk and fell asleep on the couch in the living room where most of the people were at, fast forward to after midnight. He proceeds to get up, go next to the couch to the corner of the room and just starts pissing there. From that day he has been called the corner pisser. Makes more sense in my language because it's one word and sounds more melodic. Some chick got too drunk and finger banged herself on the couch in front of everybody. The music got turned down. Everybody started cheering and then two huge dudes appeared from the crowd of people, grabbing the girl by her arms and effectively dragging her out onto the lawn. She proceeded to puke on herself and pass out. Never went to a party again. I fell asleep on a sofa after a bottle of rum. Two girls decided to get frisky with each other while I was unconscious. I count this as a three-way. I've told this story before, but we were hanging out at a friend of a friend's party. Calmed down pretty quickly, but there was still some good traffic. Two guys and this blonde girl walk in, none of which we know, and beeline for one of the bedrooms. We can all hear them fucking over the music. About 10 minutes later, one of the dudes walks out completely naked and fully erect and says she wants a third. Our one friend just starts stripping and walks into the room. The rest of us left to go to sheets. My roommate fucking our female roommate next to me while I was passed out drunk. Turns out the next morning she was a virgin before and she didn't remember anything. I was the one to come down to the breakfast table and ask why my buddy's sheets were full of blood. He sat there slack-jawed and she thought the blood was from someone else. When I was 14 I went to a friend's 15th birthday party. We were like 10 people, using the second floor of their house for his party. Someone brought moonshine that his father had made, which was pretty normal. So I went downstairs to ask his parents for some shot glasses. His father gave me some porcelain shot glasses, and back up I went. I didn't expect that at all. Then his mom comes running upstairs, yelling like there's no tomorrow. She grabs the porcelain things, thrusts a bag of plastic shot glasses onto our table, and walks back downstairs muttering about her husband giving us the fine shot glasses. Yeah, I grew up in a yokel town. But that seemed pretty fucked up at the time. That was my first party, and we did shots of 96% of homemade fucking moonshine. It hurt. I was at a party, standing at the basement door while a small group of people passed a joint. The entrance to the door was slightly below ground level, so we were standing in a depressed concrete area in front of the door with the ground above it about waist height. In front of us, at eye level, was an old lawnmower, the kind you would pull the cord and curse at while it refuses to start. Puff, puff, pass in the quiet of the night when suddenly a loud thud and a body from above lands horizontally, back first, across the lawnmower, having fallen from the balcony above. His arms quickly grab his chest as one might be expected to do during a traumatic aortic dissection. There is a sigh-like gurgling noise from him and then nothing. He is not moving and we are 100% certain he is deceased. I feel like the life force is leaving him as his arms, now awkwardly across his chest, start to slowly unfold, past parallel toward the ground. His right arm has now entered our space, hand open and limp at the wrist, fingers hanging down and looking very corpse-like. Slowly, eerily, his index finger and thumb begin to move together until the tips are touching. His body language is unmistakable, so we pass him the joint and he takes a long haul. Somehow, he was completely unharmed. I didn't actually see this part, but I heard the screaming and saw naked running. At a college party, and this shit-faced guy and this extremely drunk woman start going at it. They went off into someone's bedroom. Apparently, she was on her period, and so they decided to have anal sex. He fumbled around in a drawer and pulled out some lube, and they started going at it. Not long after, she starts screaming and runs out of the room naked and starts banging on the bathroom door. Everyone starts laughing their asses off, thinking she has to shit or something. The person doesn't open the door, so she runs to the kitchen and hops in the sink and basically shoves the sprayer up her ass. It wasn't lube they had applied. It was icy hot, a heat rub. The room was a football player's room, and he kept that stuff in his drawer. There was this huge bowl of chips with some French onion dip. I got a huge chip and didn't get quite enough dip on it. Took the first bite, looked around, and double dipped like a fucking boss. I showed up at a party where I knew no one, immediately introduced myself to the hostess, who was very drunk, and encouraged me to check out the attic. Trying to be a polite new friend who was drinking her booze, I did, and it was a very nice attic. After I came back down the ladder, a group of very drunk people had gathered, and wanted to know WTF I was doing up there, and what was going on. I told them there were Jews hiding in the attic and they should go meet them. They go up, I go get a drink, and not 2 minutes later the hostess is freaking out, screaming at them that there are no Jews in her attic. Quite the shit show. In high school, my friend passed out at a house party. While he was asleep, he got a boner. We put a shoe over it upside down to cover it while he slept, and the party just kept on keeping on. Not too crazy, but super weird. Teenagers suck. On the day that Michael Jackson died, I was celebrating the end of exams with my ex-girlfriend and her friends at their house. Everyone got totally wasted. MJ died. There were tears everywhere. One guy punched a window out. While all this was going on, I was upstairs taking a piss. I came out of the loo and noticed that there was a door open. My mate came up to use the loo, saw me looking at the door, and said we should take a look inside. We did. We looked everywhere. We eventually looked at the bedside table and found a butt plug and a big purple dildo. Cue us heading downstairs with these two devices and swinging them all around the party, throwing them at people, that kind of nonsense. We built a small fire in an incinerator at the bottom of the garden. You know those small metal trash can looking bins with the funnel at the top and holes in the side? After getting a mediocre fire going, someone produced a mystery bottle of liquid from the shed to spice things up a bit. Within minutes of this being sprayed, flames were licking out of every orifice of the metal bin. Somehow the flames managed to lick a dry fir tree a couple of feet away. Within 5 minutes this 8-foot-tall fir tree was ablaze. Everyone was frantically running from the kitchen with dirty pots and pans and filling them from the garden pond to try and tackle the blaze like a drunk adolescent fire brigade. The fire spread, burning down 2 sheds and a large section of the fence. The kicker was that all the oil and shit from the dirty pans had managed to kill the dad's prized koi carp collection. A couple of years ago, I was out walking the golf course with my friends. It was a neighborhood golf course, so it was connected to the backyards of almost all the houses in this little community. Well, we found a party going on, that was just packed full of the upper crust. We were probably about 21, and this was a party full of young, rich 27 to 30-year-old. Upon entering the party, I noticed a guy asleep on the couch, and I was so drunk, I thought I should help wake him up so he could enjoy the party. So I sat on him and started slapping the shit out of this guy. Front of the hand, back of the hand, and I'm sure that guy caught some karate chops in my drunken stupor. He wakes up and starts yelling. I book it back out onto the golf course, and I didn't see my friends until the next morning. They all got their asses kicked at that party, because of me. Thank you for watching Reddit Space. Please subscribe if you love these Reddit stories.